Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you get Luke.
Luke, we're continuing our new series on great engineering universities. This time, stepping it up a little bit. I know Penn State was great, but this time looking at Carnegie Mellon University.
So you think that's stepping it up?
I don't personally, but some people might have that misconception, yes.
Yeah, I think like CMU is not like it's not an Ivy League school, but I think as engineering goes, I think it's considered one of the, it's up there with like MIT,
right?
And some of those types of schools. So I guess it's like the Ivy League of engineering, perhaps, maybe.
It's the Ivy League of Pittsburgh.
Ooh,
that's
what my wife calls Duquesne. Just because it's really expensive.
I'm aware. 6 more months, and I owe them no more money.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. Little bit of history on the Carnegie Mellon University. Beginning back in 1905 is when I see, kind of, sort of, by our good friend, longtime listener, Andrew Carnegie.
Good old Andy.
He designated a whopping $2 million of his multi-billion-dollar fortune to make the campus. And the massive buildings, they say, of the Carnegie Technical Schools, as it was called, showed up pretty close to the Pitt campus. So if anybody that's familiar-ish with the area, kind of by Squirrel Hill, Oakland, like that neck of the woods.
It's like University Row up there. You got Pitt,
yeah.
You got CMU, Carlo is up there.
Carlo is right up there. I forgot about that.
There might be one more small, really, really small one like Carlo up there. But yeah, there's like 3 universities, like their campuses all pretty much touch.
Yeah. So a whole bunch of applications came in there the starting year for the School of Science and Technology, even though the classrooms were still unfinished. So that's kind of interesting. So then in 1912, the original campus was basically complete and 3 more schools started holding classes. The first tech engineer entered the working world with his bachelor's degree from Carnegie Institute of Technology. And then this is how good my history is here. I'm like, and then some decades passed. Carnegie Tech started to become really well known for their engineering and their science programs because Mr. Carnegie had, a good head on his shoulders and knew that this was really important. So that's good. But in addition to that, they also really diversified into like progressive programs for drama and arts. And as we're going to probably mention a number of times, Carnegie Mellon, awesome, amazing engineering school. Probably an even better drama school.
It's like, probably one of the best ones in the country.
Yeah, really crazy. But anywho, as they continued to grow, they ended up merging with Mellon Institute. So Mellon's another big name in Pittsburgh. So Carnegie Mellon kind of forms out of this. So in 1967, Carnegie Mellon kind of came together and emerged.
What year did you say? 19?
I saw 67.
Yeah. I thought that's when it was.
I have 4 facts about the halls, some of the like places that people go to school and live there. But do you have any more history you wanted to get in there?
And now I think probably the biggest thing on the history that I saw that I'd like to just kind of go back to is Andrew Carnegie himself. So Andrew Carnegie, we call him Andy. Yeah. So Andy was a Scottish immigrant, and he came here in 1848, and his family settled in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he's pretty much like a self-educated. From what I saw, like he didn't
like you.
Yeah, very much so. He didn't attend a university. This was all just kind of like doing it all. And I'm sure he has a bunch of, what do they call them? Honorary degrees, which I will take from any universities listening.
Can we give that another shout out here? If any of you have a connection at a school and you can get us an honorary degree of any sort,
we're educating future engineers, James. I feel like we deserve it.
Literally millions of listens.
So he basically becomes this amazing entrepreneur, started all kinds of steel companies in Pittsburgh, and then he had all this money and he was like, what am I going to do with this? And he wanted to educate the people of Pittsburgh. And then that's where you got to, he gave all this money to train people in Pittsburgh. And it was mostly in like the industrial kind of arts. So it was things like engineering, science, mechanical design, like those sorts of things. And then obviously changed over the years. But interestingly, so I live in Crafton, which is right next door to Carnegie. And if you ever come to Pittsburgh, there's Carnegie libraries everywhere. There's a town called Carnegie,
system, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's a really, if you think about the legacy that this gentleman left, it's pretty crazy.
I'm actually going to Carnegie tonight to visit friends. So
nice.
There we go. Yeah.
I love that. I haven't seen you in like a year and a half. And you're
maybe
just
2 years,
and you're literally like down the street visiting.
Do you want me to stop by? I'll stop by if you want.
See, then I gotta clean
exactly.
No.
A couple of things.
Shoot.
Hammerschlag Hall. Certain that's not how you say it, but we're gonna go with that. It was built around the boiler room, and that's used as part of the power plant for the campus. But the whole hall where people live is built around that. There's Porter Hall, which was originally named Industries Hall. It was first built on Carnegie Mellon's campus. And for the first 2 academic years, all 4 schools, the fine arts, industries, engineering, and women's school, were all housed out of that one hall. So that's pretty impressive. Wien Hall, W-E-A-N, called Science Hall from 71 until it opened in 81, was named after Raymond John Jack Wien, a 1917 graduate of the Carnegie Institute of Technology, considered the father of the modern American steel mill. So I thought that was kind of interesting considering Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then the one that I have to call out, of course, is Ansys Hall. And this is the newest addition to the College of Engineering. Ansys Hall was funded by a 2016 grant from the engineering simulation company Ansys, which Luke and I know near and dear to our hearts,
near and dear.
Headquartered less than an hour southwest of
Pennsylvania.
Canonsburg. Yeah. What's that? A good, 20 minutes from you, maybe?
It's probably about 20, 30 minutes for me.
20, 30 minutes. Yeah. But what's interesting about Ansys Hall is that I believe Pitt has the Swanson School of Engineering. The entire School of Engineering at Pitt is named after John Swanson, who created Ansys. So they have Ansys Hall, they have the Swanson School of Engineering, and he also went to Cornell, and he has like a comp sci or some sort of like science lab up in Cornell as well.
Do you think you and I will ever have a hall named after us?
Once I get sick of all of this podcast money, Penn State might have like a Herzing Hall or like Unprofessional Engineering Hall.
Alrighty, so let's fast forward to today, James. Let's say you wanted to attend CMU. So the first thing is there's a minimum set of requirements that has to happen as a high schooler.
Remember when you were impressed with the Penn State requirements?
Yeah.
You look at these and it's like...
So I hope you have more specifics, because I wasn't able to find specifics. So all I found was some high school minimum requirements for the engineering program. So I didn't see any GPA or SATs. So I don't know if you have that, if you can add that.
I do.
Okay, so you need at a minimum 4 years of English, 4 years of mathematics. There had a little asterisk there. All advanced mathematics. So all like calculus, trigonometry, like all the super, advanced mathematics. In high school, 1 year of chemistry, 1 year of physics, 1 year of biology, 2 years of a language, and at a minimum, 3 like electives. So it's a pretty heavy, math and science load. I mean, I don't know about you, but taking chemistry, physics, and biology in high school, I didn't. I don't know if you did.
Yes, I did.
You're such a jerk. I forget how smart you are.
That's not even true. That's
forget how smart you are.
Basic stuff here, Luke.
Oh my goodness. I did really poorly in high school. So okay, so let's talk specifics now, since you have the numbers.
You're so funny. Sorry. I have it broken down by all of these different colleges there. So like fine arts is still super competitive. Like, so their SATs scores for the English and the math side. For the fine arts, you still need like a 7 to 740 on the English side and a 730 to 780 on the math side, which blows my mind for fine arts. ACTs, they say for a 33, 34. I don't know the ACTs, but apparently that's good.
Okay.
GPA would be like a 3.8. But getting into the stuff that we care about, like engineering, on the English side, like your verbal score has to be 740 to 770. Therefore, I would never qualify because I barely speak English. And then on the math side, they actually give you a little wiggle room for the engineering school. You're allowed to get a 790 to an 800. So that's very generous of them. And so then like a 3.9 plus GPA. The same thing for information sciences. That's a little more flexible. 740 to 760 verbal, 780 to 800 on a little more flexible on the math. But what gets really crazy is that they have the Mellon College of Science and then the School of Computer Science. And computer science is their numero uno program. You need a 770 or above on your verbal, and you need an 800, which is a perfect score on your math. And the same thing for the College of Science. You need an 800 on your math.
So I'm assuming these are literally like valedictorians and like top 2 or 3 kids at each school across the globe, because it's a global campus.
So when you look at those numbers, that's not necessarily the case.
No?
It could be like maybe the top 10 could qualify. I mean, like myself on the math score, 800 wasn't going to happen, but like the 780 to 800 range, maybe. But the verbal score,
no chance for you.
Chance. Like I could, like no chance. I couldn't do it now. I couldn't do it then. No, she was like kindergarten, and that's where my English stopped. So. So no chance I could do the total score. But there's more that goes into this that I want to talk about. But before we do that, we need to take a break for a word from our sponsor.
Carnegie Mellon University.
Andrew Carnegie contacted me personally from the grave.
The ghost of Andrew Carnegie.
And said that he is not sponsoring us. No sponsor this week, which is sad. But we do have some great shout outs, which is better than money.
It's way better than money.
Zach W. wrote in, I am a spacecraft engineer. Yes, that's totally a real title.
Amazing.
Who works for the Space Force. That's awesome.
Like Space Force? Like the division of the military that they started a few years ago, Space Force.
I didn't want to ask
that is
questions.
amazing.
I felt like that could get me on a list or something. I have semi-recently become enamored with you all's podcast. So I like that, you all's.
I like the word enamored too.
His verbal score probably was not an 800 either. No offense there, Zach. I would love to be a small sponsor by sending y'all $20 in a 6-pack. Maybe I'll get the ball rolling. And I usually say no, but to that offer, I could not. So I sent him my address that I could drink some beer. I'll tell you how it is. Next, Michael H. wrote in. Just over a year ago, I'd been in the hospital for a few days. Nothing serious or life-threatening.
Okay.
And since there were no visitors allowed, of course, all I had to do was listen to podcasts. I binged almost your whole archive, and it helped so much. I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys and your podcast. Very awesome subjects, and delivery is quite entertaining. Anything, keep it up, and I'll continue listening. Thanks again. So, Luke, all I can say about this is I can't exactly say what Michael had and things like that, but I almost certainly can say that unprofessional engineering single-handedly saved his life.
Single-handedly.
Sorry, doctors. Sorry, nurses. Sorry, staff.
We're
Unprofessional Engineering, the Curing podcast.
I feel like this might be an angle for us.
I think so.
Alternative medicine with unprofessional engineering.
Yeah. So if any of you
don't do that.
If any of you have a story about how we saved your life, how we got you through the darkest of times, how we're your only friends and you listen to hours and hours of my nasally voice, please go ahead and email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, share. We love the reviews. And as always, you can tell your smart devices to play the Unprofessional Engineering podcast.
Anytime somebody says they binge this, I just am like, how do they listen to me?
Literally, by the time we're done, I want to stab myself in the ear holes.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. So a little bit more about acceptance rate, Luke, and getting in. 27,000 kids apply each year.
Of course.
17% get accepted.
That seems high to me, 17%.
That's across the whole school.
Oh,
if you get to the School of Computer Science, 7% get accepted. 7.
That's a lot of heartbroken little teenagers.
That it is. What's interesting though, so back in the 80s, the acceptance rate was around 40 to 45%, give or take. And the average SAT score was around 1200, just a little bit above, which if you remember the Penn State one, I think you said it was like a 1250, somewhere in there. But by 2000, so many applications came in that, the admissions rate dropped significantly, as we said, and the GPA and SAT scores kind of skyrocketed. But one last thing that I wanted to say is that there are, and they put it on their website, there's 7 factors that Carnegie Mellon ranks as being very important to their administration process, right?
Okay.
Or their admissions process, sorry. So we talked about the scores, which are already ridiculous. The rigor of the secondary school record. So if you go to a high school that they don't consider to be that tough, you're already out. So you might not even have a chance. Class rank, GPA, your like standard test scores, extracurricular activities, volunteer work. I don't know about you, Luke, but I didn't do volunteer work, and paid work experience. Essays, recommendations, first generation status, legacy status.
Oh, there's
things like that all come
going
in.
On there.
Race and ethnicity, talent and ability are all important. And examples, they said, if you're placed in a prestigious international science or math competition, you've co-authored original research, or you've developed an app or used some sort of skill like this for an impressive charitable institute. These are high school kids.
Yeah. I'm going to have to lower my daughter's expectations. We've talked about CMU. I didn't know any of this.
Good luck.
Oh,
with
goodness.
that.
So let's talk about what it might cost you.
Oh, goodness.
Since we're talking about how to get in. Luke. So this is dumb. This is like crazy. So first of all, it's a private school. So there is no in-state, out-of-state.
I was just going to say that. No in-state.
Which is terrible, as I like to say.
Terrible.
So before financial aid, thank goodness for financial aid, but most of it you got to pay back. So if you had 0 financial aid, which I think a lot of people do get it, it's $57,119 per year. So let's say you get 0 financial aid and you're going for 4 years. It's going to cost you $228,476 for a 4-year undergraduate degree. The problem is most of their undergraduate degrees and most of the programs people go through, it's kind of difficult to do in 4 years just because of the intensity of the program. So most people are actually going for 5 to 6 years. So now you're looking at almost $300,000 of school loans. The good thing is the average person only pays like $36,000 a year because of the grants and loans and things that they get. So that is so much money. So
a couple things on that. First, I think that maybe we should open up like a unprofessional engineering scholarship. And I figure at about 60,000 per year, we'd probably be able to do about 100 scholarships to Carnegie Mellon each year.
Yeah.
Just to pay it forward.
I don't think we could do a meal plan at CMU.
Do you have the prices of the other stuff?
I don't have the specifics.
Real quick. So you said the tuition's a bit over 57,000, orientation fee, $400, activity fee, $270, transportation, $250, media fee, $10. Nice. We could cover that. Technology fee, $440, rooms and fees, almost $10,000, dining, $6,500, books and supplies, $2,400. A total cost they estimate at $77,474.
I take that back. We can't pay for someone's meal plan if it's $6,500. I take that back. We can pay for that $10 media thing.
Yeah, they must eat very well. Yeah, isn't that crazy, town? I know, so expensive.
So let's talk about the degrees, James. You okay with that?
I would love to. Yes.
Okay, so there's a boatload, and I'm not going to do each and every individual one. So this is purely the School of Engineering that I'm speaking of because there's multiple schools. First of all, there are multiple undergraduate and graduate and PhD level classes. So first of all, they have what they call interdepartmental And these are,
interdepartmental.
yeah, you have to say it like that, interdepartmental.
Okay.
So these are ones that kind of cross over like nursing and engineering and bio. There's usually a medical component to it for these interdepartmental degrees. I can't say that word. I don't know why. So civil engineering, they have one undergraduate degree, and then they have multiple masters and one PhD in civil.
What a waste of money.
They have civil and environmental. So this is kind of putting those things together. Again, they have one undergraduate degree, basic civil engineering, and then they have multiple masters and PhDs, things like infrastructure, things like computational mechanics, environmental engineering, environmental science, PhD programs. Next up is electrical and computer engineering. They have 2 undergraduate degrees and 3 masters and 1 PhD in electrical and computer engineering, combination of 2. Then they get into these kind of weird ones that I'm not sure I understand what they are. It's like engineering and public policy. I imagine these are like maybe like infrastructure type
I feel
things.
like these people are so smart that they get to specialize.
Yeah, like they probably work for the
they
government.
Have a goal in life, what they want to achieve. Yeah.
So 2 undergraduate degrees, multiple like 4 or 5 PhDs in engineering and public policy. There is a single information and communication technology that you have to go to the Africa campus for to do it. So you can't do it here in Pittsburgh. They have an information network institute. This is all master's degrees. So you got to get your undergraduate degree in one of the other programs, and then you'll do a master's in information and networking. Material science and engineering. There is 1 undergraduate degree, 5 masters, 2 PhDs, and then near and dear to our hearts, James, they have 1 undergraduate mechanical engineering. They have 4 master degree programs. So computational design and manufacturing is one. Ooh. Basic mechanical engineering, mechanical engineering advanced studies, not sure what that means. And then they have a mechanical engineering research master's, and then their PhD is just a generic mechanical engineering PhD, which seems overkill to me, but that's just me, you know.
Yeah, I don't need any of those. I won't get into it. I've told it on other episodes. Rankings, Luke. I have some rankings here.
They're pretty good.
For undergrad overall in engineering, they are numero 6. That's pretty good.
Well, it's not too shabby.
Biomedical 18, chemical 15, civil 12, computer 2, cybersecurity 1, electrical 8, materials 8, mechanical 9. Pretty good. For grad school, overall number 4. Really good. Biomedical 17, chem 16, civil 9. I'll save you all $300,000. More cement, water rolls downhill. You're welcome. Computer 5, electrical 8, environmental 8, materials 12, and mechanical 10. So you know what? What I'm reading here is you can't go wrong at CMU.
No. I mean, if you can afford it, or you get, perhaps a scholarship or whatever it might be, you really can't go wrong with it. So. Yeah.
Before we go any further, I do have a few more things I want to talk about, but I think it's time for us to take a break for this week's Luke's Rant.
Okay, keeping us squarely on CMU.
The Mellons.
So for such an amazing school, like, literally top 20 in almost every category you could measure, even outside of engineering. You go to like the liberal arts programs and drama, amazing school. The absolute worst website I've ever navigated and or experienced. Like, there were times where like I got to the engineering homes website, like for the School of Engineering, and I left it and I could not figure out how to get back to it through just without hitting the back button. You'd be on one page and half of the links would launch a new tab. The other half would just launch in the tab and keep you there. I mean, there was like so much redundancy. I mean, it's literally the worst website I've looked at in all of the research we've done on schools and the programs, and like Penn State's website, 10 times better than CMU's website. Absolutely the worst. And I get it's a big school. There's lots of programs, lots of things going on. But the fact that like
it's bad,
it's so massive, and someone's got to take this thing under control, because like if I want to go here for like computer engineering and like UI research, or I want to like, this is not a good representation of what a good website does. The fact that there's like 5 ways to get to every site and I can't easily navigate back to sites that I found previously, terrible website.
Okay, I agree. It was not very good.
Terrible.
Okay, a few things from my side about who's getting in. So geographically speaking, in-state students make up 14% of CMU. So not a good sign. If you're from PA, maybe you want to look elsewhere. Out-of-state students, obviously the other 86%, 39% come from the Mid-Atlantic region. Students come from 80 countries around the world.
It's a very multicultural campus. If you've ever driven up there, I mean, number one, I mean, most universities are pretty multicultural, but CMU, I think in particular, is probably one of the more multicultural campuses I think I've ever been
Pittsburgh.
On. Yeah.
Competition's really stiff for states in the Northeast, like so PA in our given area, and on the West Coast. But if you come from states that have like smaller populations, Alaska, Montana, those kind of places, it kind of boosts your admission chances, which is interesting. Looking at the ethnic identity, 22% white, 38% Asian, 9% Hispanic, 3.4% African American, and then the rest, they just kind of have.
This is across the board, the whole university.
Across the board. The country's sending the greatest number of students to CMU. 40% China, 11% Qatar, 10% South Korea, 9% India, 6% Canada, and 3% Singapore. And
what's
then the
that?
breakdown.
What's Canada's number of boot?
I don't know what that's all about. But what's also interesting, women enjoy a much better acceptance rate than men, as the university receives far fewer applications from female students. So they have like a 21% acceptance rate. Men have an 11% rate. So if you're a male from Pennsylvania, maybe save your admissions fee and just
go to Penn State.
And go to Penn State. Yeah. Where do you want to go next?
So I think we have to talk about some of the research institutes. Okay. I'm not going to go into detail. There's literally a ton of them. So if you're not aware of what a research center or institute is, so you could just go to CMU and work on your 4 or 5 year undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering, get in, get out, you're gone. Mm-hmm. But what usually happens is you go to this school and you get involved with a research project. Or a capstone project, or you start working with one of the institutes. And literally just in like the engineering college, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There's at least 25 research institutes or centers, and they go from everything from energy innovation. They have things for environmental education and research. They have smart infrastructure. Next Manufacturing Center, which is a really interesting one. This is all about like on-time manufacturing, lean manufacturing, point of consumption manufacturing, where like you actually are making the things where people are buying them rather than shipping things all over the world. There's a mobility center. There's a material characterization facility. I'm sure the mold flow folks love that, testing materials. They have connections with places like General Motors. They have a Green Institute. I mean, it's literally, if there's any kind of research you want to do, they probably have this. Nanotechnology, just tons and tons of research centers. The Bosch, the Carnegie Bosch Institute. So lots and lots of institutes that you could check out and get involved in research. But I do think we need to spend a little bit of time talking about where these alums go, how much money they make, and then maybe some famous folks, right?
Yeah, tell me where they go. I have a little bit about how much they make, and is this even worth it? Because we do laugh about that price, but go ahead. Where do they go?
So as bad as their website was, they have this amazing infographic that they called out. It calls out the 2020 graduates from their engineering program. And so first of all, 90% of their 2020 graduates are employed already. The 10% probably went on to masters or PhDs. The average salary of their 2020 graduates is $93,542. That is ridiculous. It's the average salary. So and the breakdown,
I started at less than half of that when I graduated.
Goodness. Yeah,
that's neat.
So the breakdown is there's a large population of them. So there's a little heat map that they show on this website. A large population obviously stays in and around the Pittsburgh area. They're probably working for a lot of these spin-offs of CMU in the Pittsburgh area. We also have like Amazon here, Google is here. What's the driving car one? Uber is here. So lots and lots of companies in and around Pittsburgh that are involved with CMU. A lot on the eastern seaboard. So a ton of stuff going up through like the Research Triangle down near DC, up into New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And then a little bit in the middle of the state and middle of the country. And then obviously they go way over to California, San Francisco. Big companies, Boeing, ExxonMobil, Facebook, Apple, Epic Games, General Motors, Northrop Grumman, Deloitte, Microsoft, Tesla, Accenture. So tons and tons of like big name companies that these students are going to work for. And these are just their undergraduate degree students. This is not folks with master's or doctorate degrees. So yeah, so pretty crazy. So I think this is one of those schools we talk about. I think someone asked us for advice maybe a few episodes ago about, oh, should I go to a big school? If you can get into a school like this is, if you can get in, this is a school that would probably be worth it, because that average starting salary of $93,000 is just bananas.
Yeah, I saw some numbers that their college salary report, they come in at 26th of all universities, and their return on investment is 32nd. So even at this astronomical price, you're just getting paid. Real quick, before we get into the famous folks, I had a list of a few reasons why you might want to go here. One, it boasts the most commonly painted object in the middle of the campus, the fence.
Yep.
Why do we care? Because the original wooden fence, before it collapsed in '93, was considered by the Guinness Book of World Records to be the world's most painted object.
Apparently it's like a fraternity thing. They take turns, and it's like really like it's the paint is like thick. Like there's like gross. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of layers of paint.
Yeah. Buggy is an annual race, which I've gone and watched. It's interesting, where students build aerodynamic cylindrical 3 or 4 wheeled carts, or the buggy, and push it through a 1 mile course through campus. To win, the team needs to put together all the mechanical engineers and designers and athletes to compete in this sport. But what's really interesting is there's actually a driver inside of this thing that weaves through the streets and down the hills of Carnegie Mellon at 40 miles per hour.
Interesting.
So
Sounds
that's
dangerous.
interesting. And then Booth is another annual tradition. Booth. They build a 10 by 10 booth to raise money for local charities for designing the interiors and exteriors. They construct everything, the foundation, and really just a cool looking event. But then the last one I wanted to mention is Project Olympus.
Okay.
This is basically like, if you have an idea, if you're an inventor, right, an entrepreneur, you can become part of Project Olympus. And a lot of things start as like a school project as part of Project Olympus, and then they spin off and become their own company when people graduate. I used to be loosely connected to this just because of some of the work we do for actual work, and a lot of different startups came out of Project Olympus. Really cool opportunity there for you. But let's talk about some of the famous people that went there, Luke.
Okay, so
there's a couple.
Yeah, so I didn't. So all you have to do is like Google CMU alumni or notable alumni. Shockingly, and I didn't know this until I knew they had like a liberal arts and drama program, but just a quick glance, I can't believe this, Ted Danson.
I know Ted Danson went there. How about that?
Yeah. So Ted Danson, Josh Glad, who is the fun snowman Olaf from Frozen, graduated from there.
Very nice.
Zachary, I don't know how you say his last name.
Quinto,
the new Spock. I mean, how cool is he? Anthony Carrigan. So I watched this TV show called Barry on HBO.
Oh,
and
yeah,
this is the
Barry.
bald Chechen. He has alopecia, so he has no hair,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
bald. He's absolutely hilarious. He plays this really eccentric Chechen in the movie that, like, they're kind of friends but enemies in the TV show Barry. It's a really good show. You should check it out. So those, and then there's a ton of actors. There's a big, huge list, but then there are two that I found that we actually talked about already. So the first one is Judith Neshnik. She was an astronaut who unfortunately died aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger. We talked about the Challenger in our disasters episode. And then Stephanie Kwolek, who is the inventor of Kevlar, actually
I thought that was
attended
interesting.
CMU. So check out our Kevlar episode as well.
A few more names: Andy Warhol, Ethan Hawke, Josh Groban, the singer,
Joe
Billy
Mangalino.
Porter, Joe Mangalino, is that how you say it? He's a
no
werewolf.
idea.
He's a magic Mike dancer.
He's
married to Sofia Vergara.
Sofia Vergara.
Most importantly, he's a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, and he's turned his wine cellar into like a Dungeons and Dragons den. So this dude is okay in my book.
And he's a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan too.
He is. If you ever want to come play D&D with me, Joe, I would love to have you. George Romero. Alejandro Villanueva, former Pittsburgh Steeler.
CMU? I didn't know that.
Yeah, military hero, CMU guy. But there's also a few others I did want to mention. Aaron Ralston, the American outdoorsman, mechanical engineer, which I didn't know.
I don't like
motivational speaker, and the person who cut off his arm that got stuck under a rock.
We should do an episode. We should do an episode on this guy. Well, number one,
you're going to say it's because it was irresponsible.
It was so irresponsible.
And you're the person who went hiking through Yellowstone by yourself for like 2 weeks. So
People
I
knew
don't
where
need
I
to hear
was.
it. Sure.
Ming Na. Ming Na from ER. We're going back to actresses. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know what that means.
You're doing it. No, it's an actress. Her name is Ming Na.
Oh, McNaw. Oh, John Forbes Nash, the person that A Beautiful Mind was based off of.
Oh, yeah.
James Arthur Gosling, referred to as Dr. Java, came up with the Java programming language.
Ryan Gosling's father.
I don't think that's a fun fact at all, Luke. I think that is a dirty lie. And I guess that's all that I'm going to call out because we are out of time. So hopefully everybody now knows that they want to be going to Carnegie Mellon University for just $77,000.
As much as I've said, it doesn't matter what school you go to. If you can get into CMU, you should go.
I think that's fair advice. So hopefully all of you enjoyed this. If you have a school that you want us to research, if you want to tell us how you actually say Joe Werewolf Man's last name, anything of these things of great importance, why don't you email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. And until next time,
see ya.